Yeah, none of your setups nowhere. I mean, this is pushing lower. Pushback and retested demand, I guess. I mean, not much to really do with that. Besides following this small downtrend of lower highs and lower lows. Maybe the retest area with the stop loss above. It's not our setup. No, maybe this one has just switched. Break above here, became bullish on the 5-minute, retested below this candle, stop loss above. Following the same principle, stop loss above lower high. Right, maybe. Not the cleanest setup. It's basic. I mean, it's basic trend following. Fuck, I should have took that. See, this was an uptrend. I mean, this was a downtrend, so it's not valid on the 15, but on the 5-minute, this switched to bullish. That for sure switched to bullish. These should stay intact. FOMO here. Lots of selling at the bottom. Liquidity was taken here. Simple, I mean, this is just simple trend following here. So if I'm wrong, it's gonna have to be, is what it is. You got some highs, some lower highs, some lower highs, some lows, some lower lows. So it's just gonna have to be what it is. I just don't like that it's a 5-minute setup, and I don't like the target. Yeah, we have space down to the bottom of this range, but I don't know if we're gonna get there today. And we're kind of just struggling here, but if the trend stays intact, then we can take, you know, we're good if the trend stays intact. We did sweep this low though. We did sweep this low. So yeah, trapping sellers, I'm not sure why we be trapping sellers, but this 5-minute here trapping buyers, that's, I get that part. Didn't necessarily push up into anywhere where selling will make sense. So I just think it's probably a buy, a bull trap there on the 5 to start the day. And honestly though, not a lot of conviction in this setup besides the trend just being bearish. Hopefully we didn't chase too much. My higher time frames sold off. Finally broke the levels we wanted to see break. So, you know, maybe up here, maybe up, waiting for a retest up here. The level that took us a long time to break. But ultimately it was this range as well. So I guess if we were to pop back above this range and come back into this range, then we know, okay, we're waiting for a retest here before shorting is possible. But if we pop back up into this range, maybe it's just trending conditions and we go all the way back up to the top of it. You don't know. So right now I'm just trying to follow the trend. And if we're not trending, then we'll have to reassess. Yeah, a little nervous about this. Basic trend following though. Basic trend following, basic 5-minute bear trap. Would have rather saw that trap happen on a higher time frame though. Whatever. We're in this trade, which I like less, but it's literally a fucking $1,000 trade right here. Up 800 fucking bucks. Fuck, bro. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like on ES. Like looking at M and Q, for example. 15, we can see the lows here, overnight lows. We can see how we swept them there. So a move back above this resistance will be switching us back, or possibly ready to stop us out. Same thing on the 1 hour. Got those lows there, sweeping below those lows. This high, above this high, will shift us back to bullish, which is, you know, that doesn't mean that we're gonna go up. That doesn't mean we're gonna go up, but that does mean that people can try to buy above here, and if they get trapped, we continue lower, or the buying picks up and we move higher. The problem is that's where our stop loss is. So again, push below that candle, sweeping it if we don't continue back down. If we continue to move up, swept below there, put in that lower day, and starts pushing up. The next area of liquidity will be here, where we're either going to trap buyers and then move lower, or more buyers over that level and it's stopping us out. So yeah, even if it's gonna push up, trap buyers, and continue on, the problem will be that we get stopped out of this and take a loss for no reason. So that's the only thing I'm worried about there. Now, of course, it's 11:48 now, so we're coming to lower volume hours, which this could definitely put in a lower day and then grind up, since there's no more on volume or selling to push this down. Could just put in a lower day and grind back up. So that's what I don't want to see. Luckily something like this, right? Luckily something like above this, attempt above this high here is a bull trap, and this move fails and we go lower. That's kind of what we want to see. But other than that, yeah, our stop loss is in jeopardy, because price is more than likely going to want to try to push above that level, whether it pushes above and fails or pushes above and rejects. Either way, that's not good for the trade that we're in. It's good for the overall direction and our trade idea, but not for this position that we're in. Might be turning back around for us, might not. See that very small micro trend there. Gonna want to see that break. These moves like this, and of course, see, this is 1-to-1. So if we would have went 1-to-1 first, one, we would have secured profits, or went 1-to-1 and been at break even and got stopped out of this. But these are those opportunities where it's possible for you to add. You know, it came right back to our entry. Imagine adding one and seeing what happens. Because essentially, if you add one, you can kind of like chop the trade in half. You know you have these lows to target at least. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself though, and trying to do too much. But yeah, we need to see this micro trend break and continue lower. And if it fails to break, then that's not a good sign. It's probably, yes, decently established trend here on something like the 1 minute. Again, I don't like going that low. It's no reason for me to go that low, but just to show that you know, the micro trend there. You're looking at something like the 2 minute. You know, you see those previous highs, that last push up, and then aligning with the trend line, you got some lows here that you want to take out, and maybe here too. But yeah, more like this level where you can see this resistance and support. So you want to break down, a real breakdown. Real breakdown there. Same thing on the 5. Again, if this was at highs, then okay, cool. Push above those highs. Let's break below those lows. Yeah, as we can see, that micro trend that we're waiting to break right here didn't break. Wick below. Still pushing higher, so yeah, I mean, only hope is this supply staying intact. But yeah, that's even more making this evident that liquidity is here, because you got the stops from the setup we took and the stops from the people who are going to be selling this supply zone and putting their stops above. So we're going to have to be careful of that, but very possible we just get stopped and it's a loser, considering we put in that lower day, right around 11, before the volume dried up. Just putting in a lower day and price doing whatever it's going to do until tomorrow. Right, rather simple. And then, of course, liquidity is above the daily candle. So tomorrow liquidity will be above the previous day's highs, and then can continue on to the downside if that's what it's going to do. But yeah, don't like seeing that. Don't like seeing what we saw there. Low, lower, low. Sweeping that. Low, lower, low, high. Pushing above that high. Alright, so we hit TP. It's 411 now. We hit TP at like 340, 330. Yeah, 335. So it was an all-day move. Kind of just dipped once we were pushing in a drawdown. Remember, we called this out being a lower day. It was like we might be screwed. We came to the market. We were already down over 200 points from the overnight dump from the tariffs announcement. So we're already down over 200 points, and we pushed down here. And it was kind of, I was thinking it was going to be kind of rough. We entered this trade with the 1-to-1. Yes, this range is down here. But I thought it was going to be kind of unrealistic for us to catch 50 points, another 50 points down, and see trend continuation when the market had already dumped 200 points overnight. But I guess this is proof that all you can do is follow the trend. If the market's going to trend, it's going to trend. Very, very bearish momentum. So if the momentum's going to continue, then kind of got to just hop on the wave and get out the way. But yeah, so there's that. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's not much to review. We live traded, so there's not much to review here. But yeah, it was, confidence was kind of hit. Because it was such confusing conditions. So to try to recap and to try to review, this range was so wide. We kind of knew conditions were changing because of how much news was pending this week. I really forgot about the tariffs, I'm gonna be honest, but it was other news that was pending this week. What was this week? Just high impact news, job openings. Some other medium impact news. What was it Wednesday? It wasn't FOMC or nothing, right? Oh, jobless claims. Continuous initial jobless claims. And NFP. Yeah, NFP was the biggest one. Why is Powell speaking tomorrow? I don't know why he's speaking tomorrow, but Yeah, so that was the pending news we were looking at, and knowing that things could get choppy. And then we came down here Monday, pushed down to the bottom of the range, didn't see any follow through, got a crazy melt up. So that was confusing. We missed that trade. We tried to short it, thinking that this was the range we were going to hold below and that we would just get a small 4-hour peak above, trapping buyers and then rolling over to continue lower. Did not happen. Swept below support and started turning around. So that was, that was just a tricky trade. It was a small loss there. We should have just waited for a break below the support, waiting for a setup below the support, and then getting in like we did now, waiting for a break below the support. Price retested it even here, a break below the support, retested it once it was resistance, and then went down. Instead, we got just caught in a sweep. We were thinking it was going to be a liquidity sweep or a bull trap, and it ended up being a bear trap that we got stuck in, right? Just not paying attention to this massive wick and then melting up. Then getting caught in this sideways conditions here. We saw it was just a range put in. Same thing. I identified this, especially after seeing this. This is the key level that we wanted to trade from. We wanted to take a rejection from this area. It was one of those things where I FOMO'd, playing the level instead of the setup. This is just a level. This is just an area of interest. This is just where we want to see if our setup presents itself. And we came to the screen seeing that our setup didn't present itself. So we started breaking down, looking for other things, saying, oh, maybe this is it. Maybe this is our high, a break below here. And we had a 5-minute setup down here to confirm it. Down at support again, instead of waiting for that break and retest of the support. We did wait for the break and retest, but it wasn't anything crazy, because again there was higher time frame demand that we pushed right down into, and then our entry was coming back up from that major support. So again, instead of waiting for that major support to break, getting a setup below it, and then looking for a downside continuation move, we did the opposite, where support is showing that it's holding and then trying to jump in front of those bulls. The reason we didn't take that break below this 30-minute demand was because we were like, okay, if this is a range that's formed, this is the bottom of the range, and we don't want to be selling down here either. So we should have just skipped on that whole day. Should have just skipped that whole day. There was not enough RR potential to take a clean trade anywhere in this range. And then ideally this move, this overnight selling off 200 points, we couldn't have caught it. There was no ideal setup. We're looking at the 5-minute right now. This is a 5-minute candle at the announcement. 140-point 5-minute candle, right? So we didn't even get a chance to take a setup at the top of the range where we would have liked. So that's one of those things where even, no FOMO, missing a 300-point move to the downside, because opportunity still presents itself. So even though there was a 300-point move we were able to catch 51, which is still incredible considering that these type of trades would have been insane. No, it's actually insane. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. A 50-point trade is coming from catching 20 pointers. I'm like, I used to be like, damn, how can I catch 50 points? But anyway, yeah, that was pretty much the trade. Just catching a small piece of what was going on. Simple trend continuation, even though we thought it couldn't happen. Just following that momentum and following that trend, and waiting for clear signs of things. The only reason why I was like, okay, I'm gonna just go short, was the things we were afraid of were no longer in play. This range was holding up like crazy. If that range was still holding up, then we would have just been looking at range and conditions. I didn't want to get involved. And then we were trying to avoid this range, because if this was the bottom of the range, we didn't want to get involved there and then, try to sell the bottom and get squeezed back up to the top. That tariff news clearly took us through and showed us what was happening. There was nothing for us to worry about as far as a range, because that selling was just so strong and broke through all of those levels, where they cleared the buyers from all of those levels. So at that point, we were just looking to follow the trend. Higher, lower high, lower high, lower high, and that's just pretty much the basis of this trade that we took, was keeping that lower high intact, and just following price back to the downside, putting in another lower high, and keeping that bearish trend intact.